Hello, guys. I hope you're all doing well because we haven't been seeing each other very often. I haven't been posting so many videos of recent. There is a big reason as to why. I will explain that in other videos when I'm ready to return to YouTube officially and post videos consistently. But for now, I had a class recently, and I was forced to share this with you because I thought, wait, the people on YouTube also need this. So, this is a big mistake that I see students make and teachers make. What's that big mistake? The big mistake is ignoring writing. We cannot ignore writing and expect to have perfect speaking skills. What do I mean by this? I'm going to explain this very well. Generally, many students, when they want to improve their speaking, they think, I'm going to speak more, I'm going to speak more. The only thing I want to focus on is speaking. And yes, we might think practice makes perfect, but that's not the case. And I found myself having the same problem. I want to improve my Turkish language, and I thought the more people I speak to, when have lots of practice, then I'll speak better Turkish. That's not the case. And I thought, wait, maybe I should do lots of reading because the more vocabulary I build, the better I can express myself. Yes, that also helps to a certain point. And I thought, wait, maybe it's the grammar missing because I was doing lots of reading. As you can see behind me, there were lots of books. All of them are in Turkish, and I'm reading all of them. And sometimes I would read a sentence and read it again and read it again, and I couldn't understand what the sentence meant, so I would just skip it all. Sometimes just get frustrated from the book and just let it go, stop reading the book. So I thought, it must be grammar that's missing. So I got a teacher, and I'm now taking Turkish classes. I'm focusing entirely on grammar. I need to improve my Turkish grammar. And still something is missing. And that missing ingredient is the same ingredient that was missing when I was teaching my students. Because I found myself, whenever I asked my student, speak about this, they give me one word answer. And I would feel like, explain, give me more details, speak more about this topic. And they would give me one sentence, and I would feel like, why aren't they explaining it? Why is it very difficult for them to give me details? And the problem was that we ignore writing. I both ignored writing in my Turkish language learning journey, and I also found myself not taking it very serious, most especially if a student comes and they say, I just want to improve my language just to speak, just for my school, or just for my work. If they specifically said it's for the IELTS exam, then I would plan to teach them writing. But if it wasn't for that case, we would entirely ignore it, and this was where the problem was. So, in the previous months, we've begun going heavy on writing with 99% of my students. Some of them, they don't want to do anything that I tell them to do. They want to do what they feel like they want to do anyways. So we got into writing. We went heavy in writing, and we've been focusing on opinion writing. And in this video that you're going to watch, the entire video, I'm trying to teach my student how to express their opinion, and it's an opinion essay writing. So the process is simple, the strategy is simple. You have an idea, express your idea, explain the idea, give a few examples, conclude it. For beginners, we break it down into give an idea, give an example, idea, example, idea, example. Don't simply sit and say, I think technology is bad because it's bad. No, 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 no. Explain it. How bad is it? Give us examples, and etc. And we did this in a couple of classes, and I thought we should get an essay and review it with my student to see how other people write. And in this video, you're going to see us reviewing how it's written, what sentence expresses the idea, how are they expressing how are they explaining it, and how are they giving examples? What words do they use to join the two ideas? If you have opposite ideas, how would you express them? Because generally in speaking, this is what we do. And when you're speaking, it's not very easy to speak and edit at the same time. But if you sit down and write, you can write and edit at the same time, which means you express your ideas a lot better. There is a YouTuber, Turkish YouTuber, that I'm very mesmerized by the way he speaks. His name is Barish Ozcan. Every time I speak about him, when I speak about people who speak very well. And I was watching in one of his videos, he said, you must write. Writing is essential for human beings if you want to express your ideas. Anyways, enough of this chit chat. I hope you enjoy this video and you learn something on how to write and how to speak better. So by the end of this video, if you have these two things, my job is done. I hope you like this video. See you. Enjoy. In games, but maybe they wouldn't play, or they would play a few hours, like you said. What about the way they have used the language? Yes, their ideas. We've reviewed how they've expressed their ideas. What about how they've used the language? Let's review what words did they use? How did they switch from one side to another? Did they explain? Did they give examples? How did they conclude? Let's review that part too.
They gave a few examples, and for example, they say, have a strategy or a plan in order to win. And also it says these skills are not only learned in sports, they are learned in video games too. It's give us a few examples in third paragraph. And also they compared two things, bad and good way, with the too many examples and opinions without I only focus on advantages or disadvantages.
Yep. So let's look at the examples they gave. Video games build certain skills. So this is the main idea. I'm going to highlight the main idea with red. Video games build certain skills in children. That's the main idea. People usually think about soccer or basketball as being a team activity. However, video games build some other skills. Gamers learn team skills by working together. During a video game, they protect, help, and guide teammates. So people usually think about soccer and basketball as being a team activity. However, video games build some
main ideas. Gamers learn team skills by working together during a video game.
Yeah, actually, we could say, but this looks like certain skills. Actually, we can take that as the main idea. 1 minute, I need to delete one of these. So gamers learn teams.
Because the opinions is coming after this sentence.
Yeah, generally the opinion must be in the first line, but sometimes it can be in the second line, like we see how this writer used this paragraph. Let's look at this one.
In Turkish, we're just sometimes looking the up way, but recently I just find after the whole paragraphs, I mean last paragraph, we are finding this main idea in Turkish, but a few times maybe rarely we are finding something like that.
Different writers use different writing styles. Like the more, when you're reading something, for example, if you're, let's say, reading this, look at how do they begin paragraphs? How do they begin chapters? How do they end? Like, don't just read and understand what they're saying. Also look at how they use the language. Let's look at this one. Where is the main idea in this paragraph?
Teacher, in Turkish, this main idea, we are just finding it in a big paragraph, only in one sentence.
In an essay, every paragraph has an idea. You remember we said when you're writing a body, you write reason 1, you explain the reason 1, and then you give examples. And then you write reason 2, you explain it, and then you give examples. So here this person wrote reason 1 and reason 2 to the advantages, but this essay has 2 sides. If it was just one side, just advantages of playing video games, then they have reason 1, reason 2. And for every reason we are looking at what's the main idea? What's the reason for them saying video games are good? And then we look at the other side because this essay has 2 sides. The other side, it says, reason 1, I think video games are bad because of this reason, because of this reason, because of this reason. So they have 3 separate reasons. How do I understand they have 3 reasons? Because they've used 3 different paragraphs. So if I if I look at this paragraph, I expect to see the reason why they think that video games are bad. There is a disadvantage. I expect to see the explanation. So they have explained the idea, and I expect to see some examples of this reason they gave. In this paragraph, we've looked at the reason video games build certain skills. Why are video games good? They build skills. Why are video games good? They encourage people to work together. What about the disadvantages? Why are video games good, bad? Because some gamers become addicted, and that's a major problem. So this is the main idea. We go to this paragraph. Where is the main idea, or where is the reason for this paragraph? Where is reason 2?
Video games can be bad for child health.
Perfect, yes. So that's the idea. And what's the idea in this paragraph?
Some video games are violent.
Yes, some video gamers are violent.
What about this type of environment doesn't create positive relation with people?
That's more of a conclusion. Actually, this formula, it's a little bit longer. Just because we are beginning, I had not given you all the parts. For example, students who are in the beginners, I tell them to only write a reason and an example because their English has not developed yet. But for you, yours is a little bit higher. So I said reason, explain, example. But this person who wrote this, they are a little bit more advanced. So they have 4 parts of the paragraph. The paragraph generally has a conclusion. Every paragraph has a conclusion. It has a reason. It's explained, it has examples, and it has a conclusion. So we've seen, do you understand what I'm saying? All right, so I've used red to highlight the reason. Now I'm going to check for the explanation in this paragraph. Let's see, I think let's use a different color here. Let's use blue. So kids learn creativity as they work through games. This is an explanation. Each video game is set up differently, but most video games have some sort of problems to solve. Yet practice solving problems. These types of skills are important in life.
Start with kids, finish with solve. These sentences.
I think this is the explanation. Kids learn creativity as they work through games. So by creativity, because problem solving is a part of being creative. So the problem solving and it can be an explanation and an example. So we are going to highlight those together. It's both an explanation and it's an example. It helps us further understand the idea. So kids who play video games get practice solving problems.
But teacher, don't you think there is a mistake in this paragraph?
Where is the mistake?
I mean, while I'm speaking English, I'm also in my brain translating first Turkish with quickly before think of it. But in Turkish, we are sentences going on like video games with certain skills in children. Why? No, wait. Kids learn creativity as they work through games. Each video game's set up differently, but video games have some of the problem to solve. Reason is no, whatever. It's like a Turkish, but Turkish and English not truthfully going. The sentences has a, what do we say, grammatically correct? Whatever. It's just confusing in sentences between two language. Okay, I understood.
Yeah, it's writing changes, but generally the structure is the same in all languages, I think, because it follows how the brain works. Something like that. All right, let's see this. People usually think about soccer or basketball as being a team activity. However, video games build some of the same skills. So for example, when you're writing, you can change the order of these sentences. For example, you can say gamers learn team skills by working together during a video game. So we can move this and put it up here and then use this as an explanation. This is how I would write it. I wouldn't begin with an explanation and then put the main idea in between. But this is how this person chose to write, which is also correct. And we have examples. They protect, help, and guide teammates. So for example, when they were giving examples, they didn't say, for example. You can either write like that, but I would suggest if you're beginning to write.
A sentence is continue without the point.
Without the point, what do you mean?
After the sentence finish, we put a point at the end.
Stop, yes.
But to stop it, but Turkish does not work also like that, I think so. No. Also Turkish is like that, but in English language, they are using so many things in the Harry Potter book too. The sentence is finished, but they're also talking in another sentence, even like sentences going without point. They didn't say, for example, or something, or example, or to be explained.
That's true. For example, here they've not used for example, but if you look at this, they're giving examples of how team skills are built. For example, you're protecting each other, you're helping each other, you're guiding teammates. So these are examples. I'm going to put that in green. This is our example here. I'm putting it in green. All right. And also people who play video games, they need to have a strategy. This is also another example. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, we continue. They need to have a strategy. They need to have a plan in order to win. So these are also examples. These skills are not only learned in sports, they are also learned in video games too. So we go to the disadvantages. Can you help me find explanations? So tell me from this line to this is an explanation. And from here to here, these are examples. Let's go.
they do not take care from this too in life.
What's that? Is it an explanation? Are they examples?
Examples.
Yes, they do not take care of chores, schoolwork, or any other important things in life. Those are examples.
And explain on the other hand too, on the other hand too, a bad thing.
A bad thing. Let's change the color. It was blue, I think. It doesn't begin with from the other hand. It begins from here. Many people have different, they believe blah, blah, blah. We are going to see what on the other hand is. It's not a part of an explanation. People who are addicted choose to only play games. This is also an explanation. All right, next paragraph.
Video game. In addition, video games can cause backaches, headaches, and strained eyes is examples. And besides that, everything, no, not everything. Conclusion is like adding sentences, adding new ideas, some of the opinions.
Conclusion is summarizing the information in that paragraph. Generally, it summarizes the main idea and the question. It draws back to the question.
So explain is video game players skip meals up to like playing games.
Up to playing games. What's
and
that?
Sitting in front of a game. What about sitting in front of a game for more than, is that an example? Because after this sentence,
I think that's an example. That can count as an example. How can we give examples? Actually, that's a good question. When you give examples, you can give examples in a list, or you can give examples as a situation. So you think of
you're also dreaming what is it talking about in the example. You're probably 175%. You can play it in your eyes. When you close your eyes, in the example, you can dream it.
Yeah, we can imagine, not dream, imagine. You can imagine it, yes. So that's called a situational example. The thing that you can imagine or dream, that's a situation example. Or it can be in form of lists. For example, they need to have a strategy, a plan in order to win. That's just a list. But this is a dream, like you said. So we are going to highlight that in green because it's an example. We pull out our green marker and highlight. What about the next line? What's it? Is it an explanation? Is it an example? Is it a reason? Is it a conclusion?
So conclusion?
Yes, it's a conclusion, because in the conclusion, you can give your final thoughts. For example, this person here gave their final thoughts and they said, I think kids need to be active through exercise, because this one is not about, the essay is not about what should kids do. But
we can't prove it. It's why it's a collision.
Conclusion.
Conclusion.
Yes, conclusion. What color should we use for conclusion? Orange. So these types of skills are important in life. That's a conclusion. Kids need to be active. That's a conclusion. Without exercise, what about this one? Without exercise, kids can become overweight and have other health problems. Is it a reason?
Reason?
It's not a reason because it's still talking about health. So it's still connected to this main idea.
But it says without exercise.
Yes, without exercise, kids can become overweight. Overweight is a health problem.
Okay.
They can have other health problems. So it's still talking about the child's health. So it's not a reason.
Mhm. Example, because it says,
It's a conclusion.
but if
Tell me.
kids can become overweight and have other health problems, no, they don't give us a example. Okay, conclusion is true. Continue with
the problem. Then, like, if they just play video games, their health is gonna have a problem, and they can become overweight. So it's part of a conclusion. In the conclusion, you can give your ideas too. Okay. And we have in addition. What's in addition? What about this one?
Nothing, right?
No, it's something very important. We're gonna see what it is. What about this paragraph? Let's do it very quickly. We're out of time.
The people who can reason.
What paragraph? What line? Where do we begin from? Where is the reason?
Type of the environment doesn't. It's a conclusion.
Which one is a conclusion?
Last sentence.
This type of environment does not create positive relationship with people. Yeah, it's a conclusion. Very good. Very good. Let's highlight it orange for conclusion. All right.
Example is the third sentence. Instead of being good teammates.
Instead of being good teammates, oh no, not that color. Please go away. Good. What color are we using for examples? Green.
Right.
All right. So instead of being good teammates, do we continue until the end?
No, it's, I think, conclusion.
Which one is a conclusion? Video game players can be mean to each other.
I
think this is part of explanation example. Because they said video games are violent. How are they violent? Game players can be mean to each other, which can be an example or an explanation.
What about instead of being good teammates, video game players can be mean to each other?
It's one sentence.
Why video game players can be mean to each other? Because mean? Instead kastetmek mi? Cimri.
Yes. It can be Jimri or bad. They can be bad towards each other. They can be rude. For example, some people when they're playing games, they are cursing.
Like a naughty.
Yes. So they can be mean to each other. They can scream at each other. They are not polite with each other. So which means they're being violent. They're not being peaceful. All right. And then we have one more line.
Reason, explain.
Explanation. It's an explanation. So we're going to highlight
explanation. Yes.
Yes. And then we have these, when people play video games, they need to have a strategy. Okay, this was part of an example. Generally, sentences. These kids are not only learned in sports there. That's a conclusion. Let's get our orange. Conclusion, conclusion, conclusion. So we have these tiny words also. On the other hand, in addition, these words are very beautiful words. When do we use them? We use them, they're called signposting language. What does it mean? For example, imagine you're going to Istanbul. When you're going to Istanbul, when you're on the road, there are signposts, isn't it? It tells you 400 meters or 300 meters. So it tells you where you are, isn't it?
So is that explain that what you told me?
Yeah. These words tell us where we are in the presentation. Not in the presentation. I love presentations. I'm always thinking of presentations. They tell us where we are in the essay. For example, we began with advantages, and when this person was switching to the disadvantages, they told us, hey, we are now looking at disadvantages. So they don't begin by, even if we don't have this word disadvantages, if I see this on the other hand, I will understand now they're speaking about the opposite side of this topic. So they begin with advantages and they say on the other hand. If I,
Teacher, can I also look it under the hand in Turkish?
Sure, you should. This color is not good. What color can I use? Maybe black. Have you found it?
Can you read for me?
On the other hand, on the other hand.
The other hand.
Yes, think of it. I have this hand. I tell you, these are the good things about playing video games. But there is also this other side.
It's same mean with the and also.
Yep, that's true. So you see, no, it's not the same meaning. Also, it means I have a pencil. I also have a pen. So these two are on the other side, on the same side. So if things are on the same side, we can say
are
also.
Thinking of two difference in the sides.
Yes, if they're opposite sides, then we don't use also, we use on the other hand. But if it's two things on the same side, then we use also. This is why you see this person used it in the middle of this idea, because they said people who play, they develop team skills, I think. Also, when they play, they develop strategy. They develop a plan. Strategy and teamwork, these two are not the same things, but they're both good things. So to tell me more good things about playing video games, for example, when you looked at these paragraphs, you said there are 3 reasons here, but there are 2 reasons here. There are more than 2 reasons here because they said also. They said also, and they gave us more reasons. One is being teamwork, building skills. Now we also have strategy, plan, etc. All right.
So we don't have homework. At last, you want to say me that too, right, teacher?
Fatosh, I want you to look at this video, watch it and understand which one is the reason, which one is an explanation, which one is an example, which one is a conclusion.
God, where was my mistake? I was a good student. Okay.
Fatosh,
for all my book and you looked me like I'm gonna kill you if we don't do that. Okay.
Fatosh, stop playing games. When are you coming for this? If you don't come very soon,
I'm gonna first speak with my mom, teacher.
Okay, Fatosh. I'll be waiting for you. All right? Goodbye. I know you're very tired from school. See you. Good night.
I'm coming home at 8 p.m. whatever. Goodbye, teacher.
I'm sorry, Fatosh. I wish there was a better time for our class.
In high school, it's gonna be better.
Hopefully.
I wish we're in good school. Bye, teacher.
See you.
See you.